Do you want dynamic narrative and stories within your games? Well, I'm going to show you how with Chat GPT inside of Unreal Engine. So let's get started. So the first thing you're going to need is a plugin, which is free. So if we go on the marketplace, we can find the plugin. So we search for HTTP GPT, and there's two, but this is the one we want. This is the free open source one, and we just install that to our engine, which I've obviously already done. But you do that, and then we open up Unreal Engine. So let's launch it. So here we go. We just want a blank demo. We don't really need anything in it actually. So we're just going to use this blank one and create that. Here we go. And before we do anything, we need to make sure we've got the plugin installed. So we install it to the engine, but it won't be in your game yet. So go to Edit, Plugins, and then search GPT. It'll be that one. And we just tick on yes, and then that will need to restart. There we go. All right, we're going to make a new folder, call this GPT. And then within this, we're going to make two things. We're going to make a level, GPT map. And then we're also going to make a new class, just a basic class. I'm going to call this GPT actor. And then we save both of those. So let's go into our blank map. That's fine. And then we'll go into our actor. Go into the event graph and I'll show you what we've got. So now inside of our functions and our actions for the blueprint, we have GPT things. So we type in GPT, you've got lots and lots of options. And what we're going to use is this send messages with default options. That's going to be the basis for our functionality for our little GPT here. So the default options are what we're going to set as well. So if we go in here, we just type options. We need to set chat options, and we also need to set common options, link those together, and then we can just split these out because they're things that we just need to fill in. So the chat options, we can get rid of these actually. On begin play, we're going to set these up, and we want to use GPT-4 just because it's better. And then we also need a key. So this kind of assumes you already have this, but if you don't, you just need to sign up for an OpenAI key. So you go into here. You just sign up to the thing, and then you have like a keys window, and this is where you can create secret keys. So demo key, create that, copy it, and then all we need to do is paste that into here. And then now all of our functionality that we might want to use, we'll use these bits of data here. So let's talk about ChatGPT and how it works. So if you've used the kind of online chat version of ChatGPT, you'll have a chat history and then you'll talk to it and it'll kind of go back and forth. And that's because it's using that chat history to update its thinking and its context every single time. When you're using the API, you don't have that. Like if you send a message to it, it's just going to give you something back and it won't think about what you've already sent it. It doesn't know what you've sent it already. So every time we send it something, we have to include the history of what we've said so far, which is pretty easy to do. And it also gives you a lot of flexibility because you can change that history anytime you want. So if you want it to have different functionality, or if you want one agent to do one thing or another agent to do another, when I say agent, I'm talking about different like instances of ChatGPT. You can have lots of them going at any one time. So let's set that up for our little one here. We need to make a variable, just pull out from your messages, promote to variable, and now we've got our messages. And we're going to call this chat history. And actually, we're not going to plug it straight into that. We're going to delete that, and then we're going to pull out here and set that. And then we're going to go make array. And then we want 3 pins on this, because the way that ChatGPT works is that you give it kind of initial instructions. And what I'm going to do here is just set up this chat history to be made when we create our actor here. Now, if I go back over to here, I'll show you kind of what we can do here. We have this playground thing and we have this chat. So we can kind of give it a system message to say what it is, and then we can give it a few messages here. We go, you are a helpful assistant with sassy attitude. Give me sassy responses, and then we can kind of give it. Let's just make sure we spelled that right. Okay, far away. So we're kind of giving it its own instruction there, and that kind of helps it along the way for further messages, and it kind of gives us a way of queuing it up. So we're saying fire away, and then when we send the next message, it'll then go. So we can say hi, and then submit that, and then this will write, "Hi there, what can I sass you with today?" All right, let's get rid of that. So potentially this is what we're going to be setting up here, is these initial messages for it to use. So the way we do that is we just take these messages and we go make, and then the role of assistant, we can go, you are a sassy assistant. In fact, no, sorry, we want the system first, and then we want to go another make. And as the user, we can actually just copy across what we had here. And then we want another one of these. This one wants to be the assistant. There we go. So what we've done is we just front loaded this chat history with our messages. Now, every time we want to send it a message, all we have to do is add it to that chat history and then send it off. So we go chat history, get, add, and then we make that, and it's going to be the user. And then what we'll do is we'll make this into a variable. Message content here, and what I'll do is I'll make this like instance editable and exposed, because what we can do is we can just do this in the editor essentially. We'll go custom event, send message, get the chat history, and that's our chat history. So now if I put that on there, there we go. We're going to be sending it a message. And what we want to do is we want to get a response as well. So that's our response tag here. We can pull out from here. We can break that. From our choices, we want to get a copy of that at 0, because we only want one thing. You can get more choices, actually. It can send you multiple responses, and then you can choose between them, which is kind of helpful sometimes. I'm going to break that. This is going to be our message. And then we're going to, in fact, no, we don't want to split that because we want it there. We're going to break it, and we're going to use that content in a minute. But the first thing we're going to do is when the process is completed, we are going to add it again to the chat history. So this message is getting added to the history as well. So you can kind of see what's happening is every time we send it a message, we add our message to the chat history. We give all of those messages to the agent, and then when it sends something back to us on the completion, it adds its message back onto the chat history as well. So it's adding both each time. So we're building up a chat history as we go. We can kind of do what we want with that. Like you could display it as a string, or as a string of messages, whatever you want to do. Right, and let's do a print on that as well. So we're going to print that one, and let's just make this one red so we can kind of see what's going on. That's going to be its responses, and here we're going to print our input as well. And we're going to make this one a sort of pinky color. Here we go, just so we can sort of see what's going on. All right, so yeah, a couple of other things you want to do. Like we've got all these other events here, and they're really helpful. They're kind of, you can use them for lots of different functionality. Like mostly I use them for like debugging stuff. So we can say this. So request sent or progress started. We'll make sure those are doing that, and then we'll do another one if it fails, because it might fail for any kind of reason. Like you might have the wrong key, or there might be some server issue or whatever. You kind of want to know what's going on, because if you're not getting a message back, then yeah, something's up. This progress updated is kind of interesting. Like when you're using the chat interface and it's writing back to you like token by token or word by word, that's what it's doing. It's giving you each of the tokens like in turn and adding them onto the end. And we can use that. We can use that to do a sort of write-on technique. What we're actually going to do is just print the final message once it's finished. So we'll have to wait a minute. But this updated one is great because it'll send it. It'll give you an event every time the message gets updated before it gets to the final one. But we'll leave it off for now. So the last thing we have to do, I think that's everything there, is just chuck this actor into our map. Doesn't matter where, it's the totally blank map. And then if we hit play, we will see it here, and we can click on it. So now down here, I've just given it some fields, so we can say, hi there, send that message, and we can see our message there, and we can see that it started. And then in red, it says, hello, darling, ready to conquer the world or something. Let's just make that a bit longer. Yeah, let's just keep that on here for like 20 seconds. And actually, let's put our one on for 20 seconds as well, so we can have a bit more of a chat with it. Obviously, every time I stop this, we're going to lose that chat history. You could save it in a CSV or something if you wanted to keep it going between games, but that's more of a save state thing. But within this instance, it will keep running. So we can say, hi there. Hello, sunshine. Ready to add a sprinkle of sass to your day? I sure am. Why are you so sassy? There we go. So we're getting a chat back, and that's all inside of Unreal Engine. It's fully Unreal Engine systematized, I guess. And things you can do with that is kind of numerous, really. Like you could have any one of these agents do a particular task. So something I have set up in some other projects is that I've got loads and loads and loads of these agents. Like I set it up more as a function. And then like one of them is just there to create a game scenario. And then I've got other ones that are characters within that game. And based on the response from the game scenario, those characters get fed a certain bit of information, or they get a certain spin on it because they know what the scenario is, but they've also got their own backstory. I've also got a backstory generator that takes different characters and gives them more like flavor within the world. So you can kind of string these together in interesting ways and use the outputs from them to kind of inject more story. And just to mention, like if you change this, like you could update this history at any time. Like you could have a function that replaces these messages within the array with new ones. You could have like a different mood. So for instance, if I went like this, format text, and said, where is it? There we go. We could feed in different strings into that mood, and then it would be, you are a sassy assistant, or you're a helpful assistant, whatever. Like we could change that dynamically at any time. And obviously all you'd have to do is just tell it when you wanted to update that chat history. It wouldn't just do it because you've changed it here. You'd have to obviously re-update the array. But you've got the history of the entire thing, so you could just do that whenever you want. It's the first 3 messages, just replace them. But yeah, that's about it for now. In the next video, I'll show you how to set this up as more of like a system. So use it in like a game scenario, some UI stuff as well. But yeah, that's about it for now. So hopefully that's helpful. If you've got any questions or suggestions as to how to use this, then I'm all ears, and hopefully speak to you soon.